Making a video. Yay. Anyway, probably get to some of this, whatever, Hythloday nonsense. Ha ha ha. Dismissive laughter. Ha ha ha. Yes. Anyway, so I was thinking, I did write it down anyway, so I did think about it. There needs to be organization. There needs to be third party. There needs to be some kind of something here. And, some of this antinatalism, I don't know, just doesn't sing. Anyway, so I was thinking of some kind of group name or group thing or concept. So I was thinking Victims United Against Glib Tyranny. It's not a great acronym, though, so we need a better title. And I was thinking about Intelligence United Against Ignorant Tyranny. That's also a good title. Something like that, anyway. So, yeah, think about it. If somebody has any ideas. It's time to organize. Anyway, more coherently, conceptually. So anyway, let's play some of this rubbish. Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, well that's it. We share an opinion. So there, we agree on something. So that's something anyway. Because yes, I think you're ridiculous.
Inmendham keeping a rudeness foul list on me.
Yes. I mean, you don't take anything as constructive criticism, but yes, you're a preposterously arrogant idiot. I mean, if you were right all the time, then some of this would mean something. But you're wrong all the time, so far.
Well,
oh, and we could even go on to about this dog shit, right? Because you did a couple of videos on this dog shit, so I could even bring that up. But just as evidence of your obnoxiousness, you say, okay, I'm going to have an attack dog, and I'm not going to feel any obligation to protect people, to not impose my dog on them. I'm just going to say, I'm right. All right, let it loose. It's a breed that's known to kill. And yet, so your argument is, it loves me. So, yeah, no risk for me. But, yes, who do pit bulls usually attack? Well, sometimes they attack the kids in their own house, but most of the time they attack somebody who isn't the guy who owns the dog. And how do they... and they attack decisively. I mean, they don't just nip them in the bud. No, they catastrophically ruin their lives. And so here you are, imposing risk on other people, and again, just glib, glib, glib. That's my entitlement. I'm entitled. Because until he actually does it, I'm not guilty. So you're just a drunk driver waiting to kill somebody before you'll say, oh gee, that was stupid. I mean, it's another one of those Victims United things, but, having been the victim of a pit bull attack, I could just ridicule you all day on that subject alone. And hearing those famous words. It never did that before. Yeah, it almost took my face off. 1 inch, the cliche. I was an inch from catastrophe. Literally, less than an inch. Okay, of good luck is the only reason why I still have a fucking face. Because some glib asshole said, I'm going to own an attack dog. And impose a risk on others. You're an idiot.
Just to see where it goes, but it's just fucking ridiculous. Rudeness foul? Here's a fucking rudeness foul. You of all people, get out of the group.
Yeah, well, laughing through it doesn't make it a truth. So again, you're wrong again, though, right? I mean, you're going to claim that I somehow are imposing rudeness? No, I don't have a pit bull. I don't give people rudeness until they do something preposterous, like say, I'm going to tell you what to do, and tell you that nobody else is allowed to tell anybody what to do. If anybody else opines, they're fucking tyrants. If I opine, it's just the normal thing people do. If I, so, fuck you. And this whole nihilist idiocy of, I don't believe in anything is real, but I'm going to tell you what's real.
Ginormous hypocrite to be
And I've called you a slandering, lying cunt for this very reason, okay? That's called an accusation, jackass. And you have to back up an accusation with some kind of evidence. Now, what will be your evidence? I notice in your playlist thingy there that you have one of the clips from my videos. Does that clip have the context? Does it have the other person's, what they said? No. That doesn't sound like evidence to me. When you only do one side of the thing, it sounds like propaganda. Yeah, you're just a propagandist.
concerned about, to ask me to be concerned about your sensibility.
I'm not asking you to be concerned. I was just informing you that unlike you assholes, I don't take it up the ass. Okay, and so, yeah, you want to have a civil conversation, then you're going to have to show respect or you're not going to get any respect. And you arrogant assholes are just constantly insulting people because you're arrogant, pontificating fuckwits who are sitting there with the mob majority behind you saying, this is the truth, we say so. And you don't have any intellectual integrity. And you're going to tell, and you're, like I said, your arrogance is the first arrogance. You're the ones committing the first crime. I'm just giving you back what you deserve. You insult people's intelligence, and yes, you don't use the word skanky cunt, but that's the only difference. You just use different verbiage. Fucking weasels.
This is right. About the fact that I started off saying, well, you have to realise, well, sometimes it's difficult to get going, yeah? And
yeah, so instead of just saying, yeah, well, okay, I have some bad habits in terms of how I say things, and yeah, I probably should fix that. No, rationalize it instead.
you know, it's very much a continuing feel from the last video. Not many people have heard of...
I don't care about whether it's a continuing feel. Okay, the point is if somebody else was proposing this theory, almost anybody else on Earth, you wouldn't play this idiotic game. And that's all you're doing. And again, you're doing it from this typical bullshit. Like, well, look, all the authorities say so. Why should that mean? I mean, logically, again, that's insulting my intelligence after all these conversations for somebody to use that fallacy, right? As an argument. And when you keep doing it over and over again, shouldn't somebody say, wait a minute, that's a crock of shit?
Will say, Sheila, if you take it as a personal everything, as a personal address to you, then...
Yeah, well, the whole idea of the conversation is sort of to do that, actually. You're not supposed to be making performance videos on the subject, and I don't think I'm making performance videos on the subject. What the point of the whole exchange is to say, is there something wrong fundamentally with this theory? And you're really not getting to the, yes, there's something fundamentally wrong with this theory.
You know, there's no help for the butt hurt you're going to feel.
Well, whatever. I don't feel any butt hurt. Okay, you're the one who seems to be butt hurt. I'm saying, well, if I find a decent, non-smelly person to have this conversation with, I'm going there as soon as I can, okay? The fact that you're the only asshole talking is about the only reason I'm communicating with you, because you're rude and obnoxious and insulting and arrogant, and you do waste a ton of my time going over shit I've already explained. So, yeah, fuck you. I don't think that's butthurt. I'm saying you only have utility out of a sense of, shit, there's nobody else that's got a brain, or demonstrating one. So, but I'm just pointing out, you have no real utility. You only have utility in that you're the only one who showed up for the job.
I've noticed lately, you call everybody liars. And this is...
That's because that's what you really are. I mean, I could say something like, well, you're a little loose with the truth, or you're this, or... No, because you are fucking just liars. Okay, it's not that hard, again, to play people's videos, to quote people accurately. It's not that hard to do. And you refuse to do it. Okay, you constantly and belligerently put words in people's mouth. Fuck you.
It's an absurdity in itself.
Another accusation. I'll back mine up if you insist, but do you really want me to put clips of videos together of you misparaphrasing arguments? I mean, that's a tactic on YouTube. It's not one I like.
If somebody doesn't speak your exact words, they're a liar.
No, it's not about exact words. Again, this isn't that hard to do. But regardless, I was just correcting you. Okay, you're the one that chooses to. You're the choosing the titles of the videos. All right, and you're choosing them in certain ways that are slanted. So again, it's not because I said something or I did something to say this is what we're talking about. It's that you want to make it into that. Pretty much. Yeah, almost entirely.
If Feynman
Probably shouldn't bring up that liar. Yeah.
uses an analogy on...
He doesn't use an analogy. Okay, he described the mechanics, the actual physical mechanics of light reflection and diffraction on layers of glass. And he used terminology of top layer and bottom layer, and never talked about the middle of the glass in the entire lecture, that anything at all happens in the middle of the glass. He just talked about top surfaces and bottom surfaces.
a simplification for explaining, and then at the end of the video admits, well, actually that...
He wasn't that he at the end of the video admitted something. If he wasn't asked the direct question, did you just leave a ton of shit out? And then he answered the question. So if nobody asked the question, the lecture would have stood where he never talked about the middle of the glass having any meaning whatsoever.
was an oversimplification, and comes...
He didn't say it was an oversimplification. He just said, yeah, okay, well, this is how it really happens. He just undid essentially his entire lecture by saying, yeah, that was just bullshit, absolute crap. It has nothing to do with this and this. It has everything to do with this shit in the middle. And because I didn't want to show you that it's an infinite number of little tiny equations, yeah, I just reduced it to this surface function. But there is no function on the surface.
honest, if you like, and thus reveal that the intent was for teaching purposes, not...
I guess, again, that was my argument, though. What's the purpose of teaching lies? So why don't we just teach the three bears in grammar school, and Goldilocks, and wicked witches, and gingerbread villages, and people sitting in corners with thumbs of pie and shit? Why don't we just do that, then? If it's not about ever saying something directly and honestly, then... yeah, that just sounds like a shittier world.
really, you know...
I mean, science. It is called science, you know. Science really should have a little bit more integrity than to talk about mind-reading photons and all this crap. Don't you see where all that leads? Don't you see where all that sloppiness has led? To multi-dimensional fiddle-faddle.
A willful deception.
It was willful. It was completely engineered. He's basically insulting everybody's intelligence. You can't understand real science, so I'm just going to give you this hunk of lie science. And also, if I told you the real science, well, then I'd be kind of in a shithole, because then I'd have to explain this differently, because I couldn't use some magical quantum theory.
Which is what a lie is. Then you're all butt hurt over that. Oh, the physics community lied to me.
Well, the point is, it is a lie. Those deceptions make it almost impossible for somebody to do rational scrutiny. If they can't tell when science is telling the truth and when science is lying, how can somebody do rational critiques? That sort of becomes impossible, because everybody will keep saying, scientists are already right. Quantum mechanics is the most proven theory in the history of mankind. Blah, 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 blah. And nobody will ever be able to pick through the evidence, because they won't be able to tell what is real evidence and what is bullshit. And as I've pointed out with this stupid two-slit experiment, it's the foundational experiment for quantum mechanics, for the entire wave theory of light, and it's fundamentally flawed as described. Now, that isn't significant? No, it's fucking hugely significant. 100 years of stupid science is built on it. The wrong road. It's the wrong road, and it was a deceptive. It was sold through deception, through a misdescription of reality, a deliberate. It has to be deliberate when you talk about Dr. Quantum videos. Is there anything else to call that? but wrong.
Just the same with the two-slit experiment, and now you found out there's interference with one slit. It's like, oh, they've lied to me. Yeah.
Well, again, that is, frankly, I just don't, is there some other way to look at it? Again, the foundational experiment, okay, that is the entire foundation of wave mechanics in photons. We wouldn't be talking about Copenhagen interpretations and all this other shit if it wasn't for that fundamentally, insipidly wrong description of the actual experiment.
No. When you tell a child about the nature of air pressure, yeah, and pressure as a force, gaseous pressure, you use the kinetic model of balls randomly forcing themselves.
Well, you try to avoid the word balls when you're talking to children. But anyway, I don't know. When does somebody do this? I don't think anybody even does this. So I don't even know if this analogy means anything. Again, sometimes you're just so obtuse and over there in the million million to one category, you know, up there in the corner with the cobwebs, you know, and you're talking like, yeah, this is an everyday experience, right? No, sorry.
Impacting with the surface of the container. And, you know, later on you find out they're not balls, they're waves perhaps. And you can go, oh, they're like...
Well, again, yeah, I'm sorry. So you still think the wave theory has credibility? You really think photons are waves?
No, it's you have to accept where you're at and the level they're speaking to you and why. Yeah, it's not a lie as so much as and sometimes they're deluded.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm frankly, if people have physics degrees and they don't know their single slit diffraction, that's called a lie. I'm sorry.
In themselves, admittedly. But a lie is just too strong, and you just need to, you know, man the fuck up and stop whinging and crying about it.
Not whinging and crying. I'm explaining why something I cherish has been soiled and raped by liars. Frankly.
Always, yeah. That's you're just such a big sissy about this stuff, right?
Right, and if I'm right, I'm right. It's sissy to lament 100 years of fucktarded wrong roading. Just waste, absolute fucking waste, because they weren't fair to the truth, because they didn't rationally analyze before they opened their fucking mouths and started talking about their multiverses.
So, yeah, keep counting. Let's see how poorly I score.
Yeah, well, again, that's how glib you are about it, right? So instead of taking it again as constructive criticism, you just sit there and rebel. Okay, go ahead and rebel. I'll just keep demonstrating again. Just keep making false paraphrases and arrogant pontifications, and I'll keep demonstrating how you're wrong, and then you're wrong again, and you're wrong again. And that's what you think is doing a good job. Being wrong. And then proven wrong. And then keep doing it. So you accept all the other Einstein rubbish, but you don't accept the Einstein rubbish. Well, maybe you shouldn't do something stupid over and over again. Yeah, maybe you ought to learn from your mistakes. Yeah, okay, anyway. So on to, whatever, the next piece of joy. I don't know what this one is. The Autonomy of Children. So let's play with this one. Autonomy.
So I'm just watching an inventive artist video, and I just had to pause it.
No, it's
I
absolutely.
started arguing with myself.
Yeah, well, whatever.
What should I say?
This is,
My imaginary child who is protesting to me about the arbitrariness of autonomy, demanding that they be free and free to choose to do whatever you want. I want to be free. I want to be free to do what I want. Ding.
I don't know, I guess I didn't see that video. Yeah, I don't know if I'd find that terribly interesting. But anyway, he did mention it in the video I responded to, but I haven't posted that yet. But this autonomy word is kind of just silly, right? You have the right to be right. You don't have the right to be wrong. There you go. Done.
Anyway, and I beat myself. I was like, yes. The imaginary child said, but it's completely arbitrary, and that's not fair. I'm ready to be autonomous now. And I was saying, yes, but you are the unautonomous, clearly unautonomous child, baby.
Again, it's the only part of it that matters is, are you respecting, are you being fair, and is something with some sort of integrity deciding. So the decisions are always supposed to be logical and somehow qualified by having components of logic in them. And that's really where the authority comes from. So there is no autonomy. There's no ability to separate yourself from the confine of having to be reasonable based on the facts. And so as soon as you step out of reasonable based on the facts, that's the further away you go, like the inverse square rule, the weaker and weaker your autonomy becomes. So the further away you get from the facts and reasonable interpretation of the facts, the less and less claim you have to any autonomy. Well, this is a little too boring for me to give a shit about. So enough of that one. This one's just, I guess, just a clip of me yelling at a cuntavad.
Here now, because I have to stop it from continuing. How do you think I got here, retard? Some motherfucking ignorant cunt like you put me here. I'm here because an asshole like you put me here. If I could motherfucking cut your...
So, cut his face off, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know why he's, I don't know, he's got 8 minutes of this. Oh, it's different clips. Okay, so let's see what other clips he uses as example. So the argument from quote mining. Yay! Obnoxious retard. Anyway, this asshole will just keep arguing that that's the truth. Because he's an asshole. But you're probably way too dumb to get that. You're probably... Right, so none of these incidences were provoked by anything preposterously obnoxious spoken by somebody else first. None of these were provoked responses. No, I just went out and found some poor little innocent truth talker. Yeah, wrong. Okay, I mean, it's just stupid. So, I mean, there's no point doing analogies, but, right? I mean, we know that if we were arguing with pedophiles or something, there would be no reason to sit there and say, oh, yes, well, that's a very interesting theory. No, there'd be every reason to say, grow the fuck up, asshole. It's obviously an exploitation. I'm sorry I'm sorry you have this disability, but you really don't have a right to rub it on children, you fucker. God damn, not complicated. But you could just go down fascism, racism, all of these things don't deserve civil argument because they're rationalizations for harm. And that's all they are, is rationalizations, making excuses to do the selfish thing at the cost of creating a victim. Yeah, I'm defending victims. You're defending perpetrators. That should be reason for... it should be reason for bullets. So you're lucky this is all it comes to. It's paraphrasing me because that's the weaselly cunt bastard fucker he is. You're just a bigot and an idiot. So again... yeah, so there. I mean, it's, you can't make it any more obvious. Right, I'm having conversation about somebody's bigotry, and I'm supposed to have respect when it's just a rationalization to excuse personal indulgence. Again, at the cost of the victim. Somebody has to defend the victims, you fucker. And that's what I'll do. So anyway, don't need to play my own clips, even though I do find them lovely and charming. I have more fish and other fish to metaphorically suspend in their quantum navigation. Anyway. So yeah, so I liked the video. Well, you know, it's just, you know, well, whatever. I'm there's no point. There's just no point. So I won't bother doing that. I'm just a little sick of videos that aren't arguments. They're cartoons. So anyway, so I could bring up entitlement. I mean, this is kind of funny. You know, first he did this reason or rage thing, and then he did this thing, which is quite funny. Ethics by denunciation, and he's sitting there denouncing. So it's kind of funny, like he's denouncing the denunciators. You know, it's just one of those cliche kind of things. Like, you're not allowed to commit the crime that you're claiming somebody else has committed that's a violation of something. You just can't do that. It's stupid, right? I mean, it's just overtly hypocritical and duplicitous. To apply a standard to somebody else, you won't allow them to apply to you. But isn't that just exactly how the arrogant and obnoxious live their lives? I can understand what's valuable, but you're not allowed to have an opinion that conflicts with mine, or I'm going to call you a tyrant. I mean, fuck. Just amazing. So anyway, it's enough. This is just useless. I mean, having conversations about how to have a conversation is just, you know, semi-pointless. So just to be clear, I mean, I just spent, you know, a few moments in the video just pointing out when you've crossed the line. Now, if you can do that in my videos where you can say, there's an unprovoked attack in inmendham, then fine, but you won't manage that. So, and I would suspect that the relationship is so fundamentally deteriorated that it's not possible anyway. But clearly you're the one acting out of butthurtness, just to make sure. I mean, it's just another one of your hypocrisies. And yeah, so that's sufficient. This is a sufficiently efficient video on this subject, and no need for any further jibber jabber. So till next time, such.